Hello, and welcome to another season 14 edition of AGT Time. Cody Patterson here, along with.
Along with Jay Bach, ready to talk season 14, episode 3 of America's Got Talent.
Yep, Auditions 3, Jay.
Auditions, part 3. The episode was on the 11th of this month, June 11th, 2019.
Yep.
And boy, I guess we chatted for just a second about sort of the news going on in the AGT universe. You want to tell us what's happening over in China?
Yeah, so I noticed this week that there's some articles appearing about another Got Talent show appearing called World's Got Talent. They've got a Chinese name for it, but it roughly translates into World's Got Talent. Looking at some of the acts, it basically looks like it's another Champions edition of America's Got Talent, but it's taking place in China. They got the professional regurgitator, Alex Magala, Celine Tam. A lot of our well-known AGT acts are appearing on this show.
Yeah, a lot of the acts that we just saw on America's Got Talent, the champions, it sounds like, sort of going into it. So, pretty cool. China is a big country. It's got big budget, I'd imagine. They're able to, put a pretty impressive show together, I'd hope.
Yeah, I'd hope so too, and I hope I wonder if we can get some clips to kind of see what's going on over there.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes out for that. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we get into tonight's episode, we got to take care of business.
Yeah, you want to give us the rundown?
Yeah, so let's just take care of business. There's multiple ways that you can get in contact with us. We're AGT Time on Twitter. I'm at Cody L. Patterson on Twitter.
I'm at One Man Bander, all spelled out, on Twitter.
On Facebook, we're at AGTcast, and we're also AGTcast at gmail.com. We'd love it if you'd go out, iTunes, rate, review, comment. We didn't get any new comments this week, Jay. Apparently you didn't suck last week.
You're welcome, everybody. That's funny. That's that. So,
so you ready?
We would love comments, any constructive criticism, or what you like, what you don't like, whatever. We'd love to interact with you guys a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I love a good interaction, love a good dialogue. If you disagreed with what I'm saying, let's talk it out. I kind of like to know your opinion on, listeners like to know your opinion on things as well. It's a great thing about this show, Jay. Everyone has an opinion.
It'll be interesting to see where our opinions might diverge on this episode.
Yeah. Do you have an overall grade for this particular episode, or do you want to kind of wait until the end to give that?
Oh boy. I gave I think officially a C+ to the first episode and a B- to the second episode. This feels B-y.
Okay.
About the same as number 2.
I felt it was a little bit better than number 2. I still love that we're getting all kinds of variety: comedy, dance, song, a danger act, I would assume, in this one as well. And if you're not sure which one which one I'm referring to, we'll get there.
All right. So, let's jump in, I guess. First act of the night was Marina Mazepa, a 21-year-old dancer. She says she's now from LA, originally from the Ukraine. She was kind of a tomboy, always wanted to do what her brother did, but she was signed up for ballet. And she became a pretty good dancer, it seems. So she came out on the stage. She's wearing like all black, black tutu, black whatever stretchy clothing she might wear, and starts off in a very like traditional ballet. "Dance of the Hours" was the song, and then she strips her tutu, down over her hips to the ground, kicks it off. At this point, I'm thinking, I thought this was a family-friendly show, and I do not know where they're going with this. I was a little bit nervous. But it's like record scratch, and then Britney Spears' "Toxic" comes on, and then she starts doing like some real contortion kind of moves. Lots of bending legs behind her head, folding in half, forward and backwards. Lots of twisting her body around. She did one very Kenichi Abina move where she's goes from laying on her back to like using her heels for traction and like slides her head up and then to her feet without her hands touching the ground. Very cool move. Something we had seen before, but I thought pretty cool. And then she kind of finishes up with that more classical ballet dance at the end. And that was Marina. What did you think of Marina?
After seeing this act, I started to wonder, is it now the trend to start off doing something very traditional and classical and almost boring, and then transition into something risque or dangerous or exciting or just something completely different than what they were doing? We saw it in Tokyo Myers in Champions. I think we've seen it now 2 or 3 times this season. So I'm wondering if this is the new trend to start off.
Yeah. I mean that's an easy kind of trope to fall into, right? Oh, I'm just going to do this traditional classical thing. Wait a second, I'm crazy. And we've seen that, yeah, with Tokyo Myers. Who is the rock opera singer? Christine Ramos.
Ramos from Spain.
Yeah, same thing, right? She starts off in her classical operatic style, and she breaks it down into rock, and it's yeah. I think that it's an easy way to try and bring that shock value. That I think a lot of it has that shock value. It translates well to TV, but you're right. We've seen a lot of it.
Yeah, and it's almost to the point where it's predictable, or you're waiting for it, and it's the shock value of him not doing it. So I would rather them just come out and just do the thing rather than try to think they're fooling us and then transition into something different.
Yeah, there is something to be able to show your range, though, too. I have all these abilities, and I'm doing them all in one act. But yeah,
she did kind of mix things up. I mean, she would go back and like in the middle, she went back and forth between her ballet and the Toxic.
Yeah. What did you think of her actual dancing?
I thought the dancing was pretty good. Like you say, it was a very Kenichi. And contour. I mean, she mixed contortion and dancing together. It did a lot of pop and lock. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, okay. Judges, Howie said it was great, graceful, scary, icky. Gabrielle said amazing, strong, and precise. Julianne said strong and powerful, but graceful and elegant. And Simon said that was crazier than The Exorcist's director's cut. Which I think he lost most of his audience with that comment.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many have seen The Exorcist, and especially the director's cut.
Let alone the director's cut.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I thought that her precision was very good. Most of her moves I have seen before in one way or another. But she did bring a little bit of a passion, a little bit of a wow factor that, the seriousness of her face, the intensity of her movements. I thought she did pretty darn well for being a dancer. I don't know. Do you think she has any chance to win, or what might keep her from winning?
I don't. Well, I would say she could have a chance because we've seen this type of dance win before. So there is a chance. I would say it's probably low. I don't know if it's a good chance, but
yeah.
since since there is precedent, it has happened before. She would kind of need to do some other stuff and come out and do this dance. Don't try to do the ballet and then do this again.
Yeah, she's going to lose that gimmick, right? Every future time she performs, she doesn't have that wow factor. I
don't know. It worked for Christina Ramos, or
it did. It did. Yeah. She kept going back to that well. You're right. I wonder what else she might bring. Some props, possibly other people, or maybe some vertical element if she uses trapeze or ropes or whatever. Something above the ground. It'd be interesting to see what else she might have up her sleeve.
Could she shoot a flaming bow and arrow with her feet? Okay. Well, then she's out. You have to be able to shoot a flaming bow and arrow to keep my interest.
She's no Sophie Dawsey.
She's no Sophie Dawsey. No.
All right. Do you want to tell us about our second act, Dom Chambers?
Yes. I think I messaged you after I watched this guy. I love this guy. He's Dom Chambers, a magician from Australia. He sounds very Australian, and what makes him even more Australian is he makes beer appear. That was his magic trick. Is he had a big prop box on the stage, and then he had a bag, and then out of his just regular empty paper bag, he kept pulling out coasters and beer steins, or I guess beer pilsners. And I love this guy. He's my number one fan. I'm his number one fan now. Because anytime you can make beer appear, you've got me.
All right. I love a good beer too. I don't know that I would love any of the beers that he produced. They looked possibly flat, probably not cold, and there was one that even poured from his shoe.
Yes.
Into the empty glass. So
yeah.
Different strokes for different folks. I don't know that I'd care for the foot beer.
No, I probably wouldn't drink the foot beer. And he did produce also a bottle of wine, and it started out as like about 2 inches tall, and then all of a sudden magically appeared as a full bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And to make it even more believable, every time he made something appear, he would drink out of it to show, hey, it is a glass with real liquid in it.
Yep. No, I liked the trick. I think, at the end of the day, it's pretty standard, like sleight of hand stuff, but really great presentation. It was not overly produced. It was easy to watch and just enjoy it. And man, I really did enjoy it, like you.
Yeah, it was very simple. He had a lot of comedy. He has good stage presence. It's not overly dramatic. I can't stand a comedian that's just overly dramatic. It was small, but yet still the things that came out were big enough that you could probably see them very well in the audience. But it didn't take up a whole lot of the stage. There wasn't a whole lot going on. He's got a lot of personality. I really, really enjoy this guy. I hope he's got a deep, deep bag of tricks.
Yes. Deeper than his bag of beer bottles.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. No, you know what? I think that this is the right size performance, right? It's not just close-up magic. It's nothing real small where he has to go up to the judge's desk and, misdirect and all this. And it's not this big, like, smoke and mirrors and lasers and smoke machines and big, large, scary-looking props and
a bunch of assistants. And
It's just him on the stage doing a nice trick.
Yeah.
So I think it's the right size. He doesn't lose his relatability doing this trick. So,
but yet with this trick, he can also perform to a large audience. Now, he did mention that he was asked to perform at a funeral once. But even with this trick, he can perform to a large audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that he could do better, or think that he needs some improvement on?
I don't think so. I think if he did comment, a good magician doesn't do the same trick twice. But I think if he did something very similar to this again, it would still be very enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah.
He may be able to do close up card tricks. I don't think large illusions are his thing, but that's just from this one act. I think he's probably this very simple prop magician, and he could probably do some close up magic as well.
Yeah. I I think his tricks were right. I think he's relatable. I think he's kind. He doesn't. If you said, "Hey Jay, what'd you think of Dom Chambers?" I would have said, "Who?" You said the magician from near the beginning of the episode. Oh, right, okay, him. He's lacking just some of that like punch, that pizzazz. There's, I remember the trick, but I don't remember him very well. Okay. So I want to make sure that he brings us some personality. Like you said, I hope he's got a good deep bag of tricks. I'd like to see him around for a long time. I think that he could have that it factor with just a little bit of polish.
Yes. Now AGT let him go a little bit longer than normal. This was 2:30. Okay. So I thought that was a great time for this type of trick. It let him do a full set, not full set, but a full trick. Yep. It didn't feel short. It didn't feel cut. I thought it was just the right amount of time for this.
Yeah, not egregiously long by a lot. So
no, I didn't get bored at all. And it didn't feel like it was edited down either.
Yep. Yeah. It felt like the whole act from beginning to end like it should be. So that's great.
Absolutely.
That's great. Third act was a singer. I'm sorry, are we ready to move on?
Sure, yeah. Let's move on to Carmen Carter.
Carmen Carter, 51-year-old professional backup singer. So she sings behind famous singers, like the real life 20 Feet from Stardom story. Are you familiar with that story, with that movie?
I had never heard of that until they mentioned it in this show.
Okay. I heard a little bit of a exposure to it, or a story about it. It is an interesting story about this gal who's just a phenomenal singer, but never was able to make it to the limelight. Always in the background, but was told that she couldn't be a star. She's wonderful, but she's too fat. That's what the producer or whoever said. So she sings a song, "Never Tear Us Apart" by INXS.
I love this song.
Yeah, I'm not real familiar with the song. I'm not real familiar with INXS. Does the song have a special place for you?
I don't say it has a special place. I just remember it from being a kid. And INXS. What were their other songs? Never Tear Us Apart. Need You Tonight. Is another one of their songs. I think they had like 3 hits. New Sensation was one of their big hits.
Yep.
So if you kind of look on Spotify, Need You Tonight, which I guess is one of their biggest hit, 103 million hits. And Never Tear Us Apart is second with 66 million hits.
Ooh, baby!
So,
all right.
Yeah. So it's a well-known song from the 80s. I think this is about all INXS did was these 3 songs. I don't know if they did much, if anything. Once they hit like 1988 or 89, I think they kind of just fell off.
Yeah. I'm a little bit younger than you. I am vaguely familiar with INXS, but it wasn't something that was really high on my radar. But yeah, you know what? She's the real deal. She's a good singer. She's confident. She's human. She's relatable. She's a pretty lady. Like, she really, I think, knows how to command the stage. She's certainly been around it. What do we have? Howie said, "I cannot believe we don't know you yet." Gabrielle said, "Hallelujah. Your voice is a gift and a blessing." Julianne said, "I'm a big believer in artistry. You do more than just hit the notes." Simon said, "Never been a person that purchased a record based on the age or size of the artist." So High praise from the judges, 4 yeses, of course. She seemed really, really relatable, yet still very polished, very, very professional. Clearly, she's got chops. What's going to keep her from winning? What's going to keep her from being the crown champion?
Well, we haven't seen a singer win this in a while. An actually true singer win this in a while. I think people are really attracted more to the variety acts. I'd say they want the younger crowd. We got ventriloquists, we've had dancers, we've had a magician. So I think people are really geared more towards that these days. I think people are just turned off by singers. Now, you're right. She is a good singer. I loved this version of Never Tear Us Apart. It was very dark. The original's, it's not an upbeat song, but it's not as dark as the way she sang it. And I really, really like this version. It's going to be tough for her to win because there's still other singers out there as well as some really good variety acts that we've seen.
Yeah. I thought the song showcased her talent very well. I didn't totally feel moved by it. And I don't know what I need from her to really be moved, but I think something a little bit more relatable for me would go a long ways.
Would she be good singing some of the older classics like Diana Ross or Whitney Houston? Those type of singers. Is that
Maybe.
kind of her? Is that kind of her thing? I love that she took like an '80s rock song and then kind of made it her own. That was great.
Yeah, and I don't know what what album she might be on. What is her style, or where is she professionally? Like, what has she actually been singing professionally? I don't know, and that'd be interesting to hear what she might have up her sleeve. I think that there's probably a very deep well for us to be tapping there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. She doesn't really have a wiki that kind of talks about where she's come from or her history. You're right. It'd kind of be interesting. Maybe we kind of look that up before we get together again and talk about her, just to see what kind of music she's come from.
Yeah. I guess I don't have much else to say about her, but
no, I don't either. Her act was 2:10, so I felt about the right length.
Okay, yeah,
yep.
And I'll be interested to see what she brings, to the judge cuts rounds if she happens to make it through that. I'm interested to see what else she has, but I don't think that she's gonna be a winning act.
No, I don't think she'll be a winning act, but I do think that Simon's fascinated by her. I think she could probably. I don't know if she. I would hate it if he brought her on his label and then stuck her as a background singer. So I'm sure he could find a place for her somewhere.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the next act, I think we saw him for about, I don't know if you timed it, but maybe 4 or 5 seconds. We had Michael Molina. Did you even take any notes on this kid?
No, I didn't. No.
6-year-old martial artist.
No, I just wrote down montage of kids getting put through while we wait for 2 old guys to come in.
Yeah. How can he do better? He can get the producers to tell his story, but I don't think we're going to see much specifically from any of those kids. So then we had these old guys, Edson and Leon.
Anytime you get a guy named anytime you get a guy named Edson, you know it's going to be someone that was born a long time ago.
Well, Edson was, I think, a relatively
he was the younger one,
54 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. So Edson 54, Leon 84.
That's what I got. Yeah.
Yep. And they had a translator come out on the stage. Apparently, they're from Brazil, and they only speak Portuguese.
Yes.
So this translator comes out and is translating for them. They're wearing like black slacks and a white button-down shirt. I think Edson maybe even had a tie on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they were dressed up, semi-dressed up.
Right.
Um,
Now, during the that montage of kids, as we see them like slowly climbing the stairs, they're zoomed in on Leon's feet, and you can tell that he's wearing some non-traditional dress shoes.
okay.
It looks like dance shoes, and I thought,
Okay.
I'm curious what we're going to see from this guy. But they kind of played their hand a little far from their chest there, but I still didn't know what to expect, and this definitely exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught that because I didn't catch these shoes at all. I wasn't paying attention that closely. That's pretty good of you.
Yeah. So Edson's a little bit of a more. He's a taller, wider man than Leon. Leon seems pretty spry, pretty sinewy. Edson's a little bit bigger, but they take off their jackets, take off their glasses, and they go into like this hand balancing, acrobalance kind of routine.
Yeah, to Uptown Funk.
Yeah, the song was Uptown Funk. So Leon, our older gentleman, he does most of like the body strength work, the balance work is the guy on top. Edson, he does more of the like arm strength. He's the base for Leon to do his tricks from. For their last trick, I wrote that Edson is laying on his back. Leon gets balanced up on top, and Edson slowly works his way up to standing, while Leon is balanced on just Edson's right arm, like up in the air.
Yeah, and if you're and those of you watching on the video on YouTube, there's a picture of that.
Yeah. Once they reach that vertical point, so really kind of fun. Like I said, they exceeded my expectations. I did not. It would have taken me a lot of guesses to think that Leon is going to do that. That he's capable to do that. I thought it might be some kind of weird dance routine or something else. This was really, really enjoyable, though.
Well, it was a semi-dance routine because Leon kept trying to do some dances to Uptown Funk, and Edson kept tapping him, saying, "Come on, we need to keep moving here. Come on, we need to do the trick."
Yeah. Coach's comment, Simon said, "Genuinely one of my favorite acts." Julianne said, "Age is but a number." Gabrielle said, "You knocked it out of the park." Howie said, we see people half your age who are more wobbly than that. So this definitely was fun. Definitely was impressive work. I really do have a hard time, I don't want to say they're a good act for 84 years old. They're a good act for 6 years old. Like, I really want to see a legitimately good act. And I'd say that they're legitimately good. Their age is a factor that makes it more fun, but it's not the, I guess, my point of reference for saying how good the act is, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, if you had to compare them to the Massaudi brothers.
Massaudi brothers wipe the floor with them all day long.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Yeah. Which did you enjoy more?
Boy, you know what? Leon was old. He's got that kind of old man likability to him. The Massaudi brothers were technically, with all three of them, using their leverage and their counterbalancing that way. They've got so much more range. I'd probably say I'd like to see the Massaudi brothers more.
Okay.
They're the better act.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Julianne also commented that Leon looked like Carl from Up.
Yeah, and I don't think they understood what she was saying. The translator might have flubbed that a little bit.
Yeah, if they'd even heard of Up.
Yeah, right. I don't know. What do you think? What's going to keep them from winning?
Well, if Leon doesn't, his age, I think is probably one thing. We got to kind of watch out for him from day to day.
They have to legitimately stay healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to stay healthy. You got to make sure that ticker keeps going. But no, these guys are a lot of fun. I think that, yes, if you put them against the Massaudi brothers and you had to pick one, you're going to pick the Massaudi brothers. These guys are fun to watch. It is amazing what they are doing. Now, you said for their age, typically 54-year-olds and 84-year-olds are not doing this. So this is impressive for their age, because people this age do not do this type of act. So they're enjoyable to watch, but I do think the age is going to kind of get, that is kind of ageist, but it is what it is. I think people will enjoy the Massaudi brothers more, even though these guys are fun to watch.
Yeah. So I put a comment down here that it was like, I almost just erased it because it's not the kind of thing that I want to write. But I wrote that I am looking forward to seeing their intro package, their backstory. I do have to watch those now that I'm podcasting about the show, so I make a point to it. But I want to know who these guys are. Like, are they related at all? Are they just friends? Like, how did this act come to be? How did they decide to go on America's Got Talent? Like, where did these people come from? And when we get to know them a little bit, I think that America might fall in love with them.
Yeah, and have they been doing it together for 30 years? Like, did Leon start when he was 54? Was Edson 24 and Leon 54 when they started? Yes, it's like, how far back do these guys go? How did they meet?
Yeah,
you want to see that.
I'm a little curious.
You want that origin story of Edson and Leon.
Yes, maybe Ashley and Pudsey, their movie's going to have it's the America's Got Talent sequel.
There you go.
But, there you go. So, I am kind of curious to see who these guys are. I do hope that we get to see them again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then we get into some buzzer acts.
Yes.
Boy, how deep do you want to go into this business?
Well, now, I didn't keep track of all the buzzer acts. The next thing I have is Sethward. So I didn't really focus on all the different buzzer acts. I know it's usually what I do. This week I was kind of rushed, short on time, so I didn't really focus on all the buzzer acts this time.
Yeah.
Unless you want to talk about Sethward.
Well, we'll give him his due. He starts to get like his background story. He seems like a very normal, decent human being who talks about his act from last year. He did a caterpillar act where he then turned into a butterfly.
Did you remember this act?
I did, yes. Okay. And it was uncomfortable. So he's 30 years old. I think he listed himself as a performer or as an entertainer.
Yes.
So he comes out and he says he's wearing a giraffe costume, and he goes into sort of this like silly voice, this silly persona when he's doing his performing. And he's the giraffe with a short neck, and I need you, audience, to help me wish for a longer neck. And then he gets his 4 buzzers, and he's helped off the stage. And then we see a bunch of other buzzes. We have a ventriloquist with a dog puppet, a couple guys that had their fingers in each other's belly buttons, and then we had a walrus come out on stage, and it's Sethward, the walrus. And I'm starting to maybe understand who the Sethward guy is. I think he's not a art act. It's not performance. It's not artistic. It's a comedy act.
Yes, it is a comedy act. Possibly
even, I think you were alluding to this, a danger act.
Yes, when he did the walrus routine and tried to balance on the beach balls, then we were on the verge of danger act.
Right, and he's clearly got like plenty of padding all up his back and over his head. So when he lands, it's not the concussion-inducing fall that it looks like. So Yeah, Howie, he's like, you know what? I didn't get it, but I changed my mind, and I happen to love you. And Simon said, that was fantastically stupid, and I liked it. And this one actually got me. And Gabrielle said, no, it's a no from me. And Julianne said, 3, 2, 1, no. And that was the end of Seth Ward's act.
Yeah, that was a big letdown from Julianne. I can't believe she actually did that.
Yeah, that was a little bit rude. You know who this reminded me of? Was Andy Kaufman.
Okay.
The famous, comedian, performer who, like, his whole shtick is, like, awkwardness, right? I'm going to make you so uncomfortable for so long that you're going to start to laugh in the awkwardness. And there is a talent to being able to maintain that awkwardness and that strangeness for so long. I don't know that it's an appreciated talent, but it is a talent. It's like a next level of comedy. What do you think?
Agreed. I think Howie hit it right on the nail on the head where he said, it's so bad, it's good. And I would agree that, when you first see it, it's very awkward. Especially like last year we saw the caterpillar. It's like, this is really weird. I don't get it. It's very artsy. I think is what you said at the beginning. But then he comes back and he does his giraffe. And when he started falling, I guess was it physical comedy?
Yeah.
So when he's falling, and I think production kind of threw some sounds in there that made it sound like he was breaking his neck. But when he would fall, and then he would fall again, and then it started then to get funny, and it didn't feel awkward anymore. I actually started to enjoy it. The more I watched it, and I wanted him to come back. It's one of those things that's so weird. I don't want to see it win, but I want to watch it just to kind of have something different and enjoy it for maybe a round or two.
Yeah. I think that if he could give us a little bit better setup, if he dubbed himself like the Andy Kaufman of the Animal Kingdom, right? And like, okay, I see what you're doing now. And like, now I can allow myself to enjoy this because I understand that you're sort of being subversive in your humor, in your comedy of it. I wouldn't mind seeing him again just to better understand what the act is, but I'm really kind of okay with him being done.
So are you saying he should just flat out say that he's the Andy Kaufman kind of? I mean, you don't want to make it obvious. It's kind of the whole point of it is the subtleness of it.
Yes and no. I understand why the subtlety needs to be there, but he tried this on season 13 and twice on season 14, and he's only just starting to make sense. That's a long con, that's a long way to get there.
Yeah. So do we continue to see him season after season? It's interesting they brought him back because you don't really hear of this of acts coming back repeat directly the next season.
Right. Yeah. No, it's been a while. And I don't think that we'll see him again. They may have him come back, third time around, third season around. They might just give him a buzzer just to see what happens, but I don't foresee it.
If AGT brings back that finale performance where they let some of the weird and wacky acts come and do that do a song, you can kind of see him doing something like that.
Absolutely. Think of him as a comedian, not a performance artist, and I think you might kind of start to understand him. But I'm done talking about him for tonight.
Fair enough. Well, after that we get kind of a Simon montage.
And I didn't take any notes on that backstage business. What did Simon do this time?
It was more like, hey, we get to meet Simon, or oh, because we go right into this teenager. Oh, we're going to meet Simon. Oh, it's Simon. Oh, I love Simon. It was that more the acts kind of talking about how they love Simon and how they're. I mean, that's basically all it was for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. And did we hear Charlotte saying, that, "Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing Simon," or something along those lines too? Charlotte Summers, our next act.
Yes, who I don't have a picture of. So I
Whoops.
thought I did. Yep, whoopsie.
All right.
So yeah, Charlotte Summers, singer.
Yeah, she's a singer. She's 13 years old from Marbella, Spain. We get introduced to her and her sister. They're the best of friends, and she sings "I Put a Spell on You."
Yes, by Nina Simone.
By Nina Simone. What'd you think of Charlotte Summers?
I thought this was okay. It's Here's my thing on these singers. This is what really bothers me about these singers is we see a montage of the judges telling singers, "Oh, we don't think you're that good," or "Hey, you still need to work on it," or "Hey, it's just not the right time," or "Hey, you picked the wrong song." But then they bring this one singer out, and then they just go absolutely crazy for them. And I'm no professional music producer. I don't understand what's so different about this one singer compared to all the other singers.
Yeah, I totally.
I'm not
agree.
saying she's bad. I just don't see it. I thought this performance was fine. I didn't see anything spectacular about it.
Did she remind you of Courtney Hadwin at all?
She absolutely did. I didn't write it down, but that's the thing I was going to ask you about as well. Is I thought she had a lot of Courtney Hadwin in her.
Yeah. Judges loved her. 4 yeses, of course. Howie said, "Beautiful, sassy, you blew the roof off the house." Gabrielle said, "Are you sure you're just 13? You've got a depth and a soul, and I'm here for all of it." Julianne said, "Strong, powerful, but not overdone." Simon said, "You respected the artist, but in live performances, you've got to drop your backing track." So he wanted to see more Charlotte, less production, less of the of that business. So
I'm glad you explained that because I didn't understand that comment.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah. He wanted less support for her on the stage. Let her her vocals, let her presence shine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that she's a great singer. She brings some real musicality to the stage. It's not just repeating the notes back or anything. I'm curious what Simon's suggestion of dropping the backing tracks would do. Can she continue to hold the stage if it's really just her on the stage? I don't know. But I like her soul. I like that bluesy singing.
Yeah. I don't have much of a response for it.
Yeah.
I just wasn't that impressed with this.
Yeah. I don't know. She kind of has her shtick, right? The cute 13-year-old sings the blues. I don't know what else she has up her sleeves. What other range she might be able to bring. If that's all she has, it's a pretty small niche to try to win from. Could be done.
The only thing that stuck out to me with her was that she wants to buy a guinea pig if she wins $1 million and call it Simon Cowell.
Right, because she loves Simon Cowell.
Yep.
Good. All right, our next act was Kevin Schwartz.
Jay, I know I just throw you completely for a loop sometime with some of these comments. You're trying to give some deep, meaningful analysis, and I throw in, "Hey, guinea pig."
And she wants a guinea pig. It reminds me of one of the Survivor contestants. They were asked what their pet peeves is, and they said, "Well, I have a guinea pig named Peeves. I guess that's my pet peeves." I thought that was pretty fun. So there you go. Yeah. So, Kevin Schwartz, you love a good comedian. Tell us about Kevin Schwartz, if you would.
Yes, I love a good comedian.
Okay.
Do you see what I did there?
Yes.
Uh, so Kevin Schwartz, apparently he gets very nervous. And he at one time was diagnosed with agoraphobia. So you know what agoraphobia
Right.
is?
Afraid of open places.
Right. Yeah. So pretty much he was confined to his house, and he just stayed in his house, never went outside. And then eventually went to, I think, psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist gave him some tips of, hey, just step outside. He'd step outside, and then the next day he'd go out, stay outside for 5 minutes, and then he'd go down the road and then around the block, and eventually could stay outside some more. Well, he eventually went to a comedy club,
Right.
and started telling some jokes.
Right. What's the most extreme way to get over social anxiety and agoraphobia? Let's put you on stage in a comedy club.
So people encouraged him and said, hey, I understand you looked very nervous, but I'm proud of you for coming out and doing it. That's a huge step. They just kept encouraging him more and supporting him and giving him good feedback. And that was good. And if you kind of look at this guy, it's not a great picture that I have on here, but the clothes that he wears are real baggy. His kind of scraggly facial hair, curly hair. A large dude, a real big dude. He's got a tie on. He's not the best dressed guy.
No.
He looks like someone that's been in his home for a while.
He kind of reminds me of what's the director? Michael Moore in his look.
Yes.
Yes. Sort of like slapped together, like, it's what I wear, deal with it.
Right. But, now he's starting to overcome some of these challenges with his agoraphobia, and he decided, hey, I'm going to go on AGT. So that's, I guess, was the next step in his program. Let's go from a comedy club and go sit in front of 4,000 people in a theater and 15 million people on TV.
Right.
So
let's
I see a giant deep end pool, and I'm just going to jump right into it. Why not?
Yeah, I call you officially cured, my friend.
So he still looked really nervous.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So his whole act, though, was just these like one line delivery.
Yeah.
Like it. Very
some puns.
Deadpan.
Yeah,
right? It reminded me of Mitch Hedberg in his style, or Stephen Wright, sort of the original godfather of this deadpan delivery. I heard a moan.
Yeah,
not a fan.
I wish you hadn't mentioned Mitch Hedberg, because I'm not a fan of Mitch Hedberg.
And it didn't sound like you were a real big fan of Kevin Schwartz here either.
Maybe I'm coming in doing something very classic, and then I'm going to flip on you. Maybe I'm going to do that. That's the new trend, right? I'm going to lead you one direction, and then I'm going to go a completely different direction.
All the cool kids are doing it. Yeah,
that's right. All the cool kids are doing that. No, I started out like everyone else in the theater. It was just the first couple of jokes, like, okay, and I really thought I was going to get buzzed. But then there was a couple of jokes I actually kind of laughed at, and one of the ones I wrote down was, "Just married makes it sound like they are already disappointed."
I loved that.
He's not the best comedian we've heard. He's definitely different, and I think his nervousness kind of adds to that. I don't think he has it in him to go very far. I think we have some other great comedians, and I was trying to look back at my list who we had last week. Where was it? Oh yeah, Ryan Niemiller. We had last week, who I really enjoyed. And then in the first week we had what was her? Jackie Fabulous.
Yeah, I didn't care for her as much though.
So I liked both of them, but Kevin Schwartz was fine. He kind of warmed up through his act. That was only 1:50. But he's giving one-liners, So he's not telling any stories. He's not doing any callbacks. He doesn't have great banter with the judges, which we've seen from the likes of like a Preacher Lawson or a Vicky Barbalack.
Right.
So he doesn't really have that. He comes out. Howie commented a whole lot on his nervousness, which I don't know really helps with it. So we'll kind of see.
Had comedians in the past who have like played the part of socially awkward, but like he I think is truly just he's still learning how to live on stage in front of a million people. So
yes, I think it was very courageous of him to go out and attempt this.
Yeah.
I couldn't do this. I applaud him for at least going out and trying. I don't think it was a bomb, but I also don't think it was fantastic. I thought it was fine. I thought it was great first attempt in front of a very large crowd.
Yeah. I think the material's good. I think that he can still polish his delivery. He may have a couple rounds in him still. I wrote down a couple other jokes.
You'll think he'll get past judge cuts?
I'd like to see him get past judge cuts. I'd like to see him get into a live show and maybe see what he does on stage on TV.
Okay.
I'd like to see it. So. Okay.
What were the other jokes you wrote down?
I saw twin pandas.
Yes.
That bears repeating. That's good. I used to have a problem with grammatical tenses, but not yet. Yeah, it's Isaac Newton died a virgin.
Yes.
So I've got one up on him. I'm not dead.
I liked that one because it was a nice twist because you thought he was going to say the other thing.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You know what? Judges loved him. They gave him a standing ovation. 4 yeses. I love a good dad joke. I don't like bad dad jokes, and these I thought were all good dad jokes.
Yes.
Good one-liners.
Yes.
He is memorable. He's going to have to give us a little bit more personality. I kind of hope that he can be the breakout of the season.
You think so? But you say he needs to give more personality. I think his lack of personality is his personality.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
He can refine it, maybe. Make himself more memorable. Stage fright is a real thing. Like, even for the most
absolutely
practiced, balanced individuals on Earth. But I think a little bit can go a long ways here. He's really got some potential.
Yeah, what I've always heard is that public speaking is the number one fear. Like, right. Above spiders and snakes, like all those things. Like, public speaking is the number one fear. Above
death, right?
Yes, yeah.
People would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy.
Yes.
So, yeah, like, it really is truly amazing that he's gone from, diagnosed agoraphobia to on stage of America's Got Talent. That is no small thing.
Yes. Now, I did make a comment that I think that the judges and the audience may have liked him more for his story and not for his talent. I think if this were maybe 3 or 4 years ago, that he may not have even gotten through this round.
Yeah, interesting.
I think there would have been some no's among the judges.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that. And again, the judge turnover is a thing too. But I could totally see Heidi or Mel B being like, "I don't get your jokes."
Yes, Mel B, absolutely.
Yeah,
but I think Heidi said that comedy. I'm still trying to find this reference. I wrote it down somewhere. That comedy is her favorite act of all time. It's her favorite category. So.
Yeah, and you know what? I think, like, he's clean enough. He is approachable enough. Like, he has a very wide potential audience. I think a lot of people might latch on to him.
Okay. I hope you're right.
So,
I mean,
we'll see. We'll see.
yeah. I mean, I would enjoy seeing him going through. He's got some work to do, but I always enjoy seeing comedians go through.
Yeah. Good. All right. Now we've got another singer, Mackenzie. He is 31 years old. He's been married for a year, and the song that he's going to sing is his love song to his wife. Nothing Compares to You by Prince.
Now, I just got to say, they said this was Prince, but the only version of this song that I know is the Sinead O'Connor version.
Yeah, me too. But I took down what I got. So
okay.
I didn't have much to say about this.
No, I agree.
He had a little bit of like a growl in his voice sometimes, a little bit of nice falsetto. He was under control. You know, he got a little bit more emotional, right? He emoted well in his singing. Nice runs, like you can tell that he's capable. He's got sex appeal to a certain segment of the audience. That's all I have to say. I don't even remember the act that well. Like it was, it's fine.
Agreed. And this one again was more about his story and not his performance, because they loved the him and his wife Denise.
Was his story even that good? Like, was there even a story there?
Basically,
I love my wife.
Yeah, and basically she said, "Hey, you're a star. You need to shine bright." And she was there in the audience. Whoop, not wrong one. She was there in the audience, and they just wanted a good love story to kind of talk about on the show. I think even Gabrielle said, I applaud you in life, or I hope you succeed in life, or something like that, something along those lines. Yeah. So they weren't even like talking about his act. They talked way more, and I should have timed the post interview of how long it took, because I felt like it was longer than his actual act, and they've really, really focused on the him and Denise thing.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time talking about him and Denise. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about Mackenzie here.
Yep. Now, I will say on the Sinead O'Connor thing, just a reminder, everybody, that I do a Spotify playlist for AGT. So all of these songs that singers cover on the show, I put in this playlist, and I don't think Prince is in Spotify, so you get the Sinead O'Connor version. So deal with
O'Connor.
It.
All
yep.
right.
Which I think is the better version, but that's just me.
Good. Next act of the night, we have Urian Retriever. She calls herself a performer and dancer in Japan. Came out on stage wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and the hood pulled all the way up over her head. Hard to know where she's going with this. They give her a go-ahead, and she walks to the back of the stage, takes off her sweatsuit, and reveals a American flagged themed swimsuit.
Yes.
That was, I would call it too small.
Is it even a swimsuit? I mean, if you look at the picture of this thing, it is barely a swimsuit.
Yeah. It's a comedy act, not a dance act.
Yes.
The dance is the comedy. There was some, she moved her hands around a lot, and she posed a lot. In a lot of ways, she's kind of the female Seth Word, right?
Okay.
This is uncomfortable, and you're going to enjoy it. That's kind of what I felt about Urian Retriever.
Yeah.
Howie said, "I love you." We didn't get anything from Gabrielle. Julianne said, "I'd like to see a little bit more, but a little bit less." And Simon said, "We all could have done that."
Yeah.
So,
and then she thought she was being sneaky by going down there and pressing the golden buzzer.
Oh yeah, she tried. She tried. Did you time this act?
I did. Do you want to guess how long it was?
Boy, it felt long.
Really?
Well,
Well,
okay.
the
Let,
act,
let me
yeah,
think. So
the act itself, her actual dancing
yes,
was
from the first note to the end of the dancing. Oh, well, she might have been in that 90 seconds, 2 minutes.
55 seconds.
Oh, is that all?
That is all. Yep.
Okay, all right. Um, yeah, and there was of course, plenty of crowd reaction shots and judges' reaction shots. She got one
You like
yes from
that?
Howie, but I'm not looking at it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's you get a lot of that. Um, it's fine. It's a comedy act. It went on a little bit long. They gave her more time than they really needed to. Um,
Yeah, because then we had like a post thing where she goes back in the green room and Julianne teaches her like a dance move.
right. Yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know. I've had enough Urian Retriever. I do not need to see her in the judges' rounds anyhow. So
No. But one final thought is how did you like how sneaky Howie was when he sent when he went to her for her reaction and or for her vote and she said yes even though she was like responding yes it's my turn but Howie said she said yes
he was trying.
he was
He was
trying
trying.
yeah
Still has to get 3 votes,
yes
and it was a long, long ways from it. The next act of the night, boy, they built up Michael Paul plenty.
yes
Do you want to tell us about him, the bird
yeah so
trainer?
yeah so Michael Paul in his package was talking about how he's an exotic bird trainer, how he trains birds of prey, and he was carrying around a giant cage like there was some sort of falcon or hawk or eagle or whatever it may be in this cage, and that he had talked about, hey, I just want to make sure the judges are safe and the audience is safe and that the bird doesn't get injured, whatever it may be. There's lights and cameras and people everywhere, so anything can happen. And
Anything can happen.
anything could happen. So you want to make sure, hey, we all knew how dangerous this bird was. So he comes out, he does his little interview and banter with the judges. He then goes to the back of the cage, and after on a rewatch, they actually had kind of the little cover, little shade pulled back a
Yeah.
little bit, and you could see the bird in the cage.
Okay. All right.
But then he pulls out a puppet
Yeah, a
named
big.
Willie.
Yeah, he's a big, colorful, green, like dodo bird looking thing.
Yes.
Not at all a danger to anybody.
No. The only danger is to my side at the amount of laughing that I was doing to this act.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's another ventriloquist. America, out of 13 seasons, we've had 3 ventriloquists win. Could he be the 4th? I don't know. He, so the best part of the act, I thought, was he's swinging that watch in front of Willie, and he says, as he's swinging the watch, when I say sing, he sings. When I say dance, he dances. When I say, and he lets go of the watch, and he says, crap, and Willie produces a a turd. Over the course of the routine, like Willie drops a couple more bird poops on the stage. You know what? It's good. Not too raunchy. Like my 8-year-old son would have loved this.
Yes.
He hasn't had a chance to watch it, but I wouldn't love that he's taught that the word crap is acceptable and even kind of funny. But you know what? It was an awfully good act. Technically, he's a pretty good ventriloquist. He has good banter with himself. There was a couple times that like I was kind of confused. As a ventriloquist, your M's, you have to do the N sound like Nancy, And there was a couple times that I was like, "What is he saying?" Oh, right, because he's a ventriloquist. It's the M's are N's, right? So I figured it out, but there was a couple times that it kind of tripped me up. Yeah, I don't know. He's good. He's good.
He's good. Yeah.
What do you think? What might keep him from winning?
If he, I don't think he needs to do any singing like, what was her name?
Darcy Lynn.
Wow, Darcy Lynn. Thank you.
Yeah, or Terry Fader for that matter.
I guess Terry does do some singing. I don't think he should do some singing. I think he should continue with this exotic bird, not this particular one, but I think he needs to stick with that exotic bird theme.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I think that should be his puppets, is the birds.
Okay.
I hope he doesn't stay with the same bird. I hope he brings out different puppets.
Yeah, I don't know what other voices, what other puppets he might have. It'll be interesting to see what else he'll bring out on the stage, though. Yeah, after 3 ventriloquists have won America's Got Talent, like he has to be great to win the season, but he might just be great.
Yeah, the bar is really high.
Yeah.
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 He kind of does some different things. One of the jokes that I liked was this is a bird of prey, and he starts praying in Hebrew. So you kind of got those like little subtle jokes that you have to really understand. Hey, it's in Hebrew and pray, and it's not prey as in they hunt. It's prey as in yeah. So it's those type you got to think about the joke a little bit. I kind of like that. So it's you kind of it's a little bit deeper than just the one-liner jokes that we saw from Kevin Schwartz. Yes,
a very different style of comedy. No, I thought it was a really decent act. I'll definitely look forward to seeing him again. I hope to see a different puppet. I guess I didn't have a thought on if it should be a bird again. But
should it be
if that's his thing, like
should it be a giraffe or a walrus?
Butterfly, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, let's keep Seth. What's his name? Sethward.
Yeah.
Let's he's had his day. Let's keep him off the stage now.
Okay.
All right. All right. Final act of the night is Tyler Butler Figueroa, a 11-year-old violinist. If you are scrolling through Facebook, you may have already seen this if you didn't watch the episode even. Seems like he was plastered all over the social medias this week. Yeah, so his background story, I don't want to make light of it because bullying is a big deal and cancer is a big deal. But man, this feels like a made-for-TV movie of it, right? Like this is the classic sob story of an act going through here. Was being bullied, had cancer at 4.5 years old, leukemia. People shunned him, pushed him away. He started playing the violin and he loved it, and without so many words, saved his life, right? But you know what? He's a cute kid. He is really fun to watch him play the violin. He did. What was the song? Stronger by Kelly Clarkson. Does a lot of he's moving around the stage, a lot of ducking and bobbing while he plays, a lot of he puts a lot of effort into it. Like it's a whole body effort to play this. What were your thoughts on Tyler Butler Figueroa before we do the judges?
To be honest, I couldn't focus much on his playing because I was so upset about his story. And I was more upset that kids were bullying him for having cancer.
Yes.
I mean,
terrible.
I was absolutely irate over that. I wasn't like, oh, that's really sad. No, I was irate that kids were bullying him because he had cancer. it makes me wonder what is going on today. So because of hearing that, I couldn't even enjoy the act. I couldn't even watch him perform.
Hmm. Hmm. His story definitely can hit the heartstrings, right? Like that's and that's why they tell it, right? You want to have a reason to get behind this kid. Up until I started recording with you, I would generally just fast forward through all the backstories. This is the kind of thing that I would fast forward through and try to focus on just the act. And on talent alone, I don't know that I love the act.
Okay.
He really just doubled the melody line along with Kelly Clarkson's vocals. Like, it wasn't anything really groundbreaking or anything really extraordinary in my eyes. But man, he's got good stage presence. Simon's got his back. He's cute. Simon loved it enough, of course, to give him the golden buzzer here. And Simon, of course, he turns that bullying back on them, right? He says, "You're extraordinary. Most people who are bullied, it's because they are better than the bullies. The bullies just want to bring them down." So, honest to goodness, it is a very good story, and the bullies are terrible and jealous and whatever it is. Like it's a broken, terrible world that we live in. I hope to see more musicality come from Tyler Butler Figueroa. If he's going to win,
does he need like some backup instruments with him?
I wouldn't mind seeing some more instruments on the stage. Right, drop the vocal track, drop the real track, and you be the melody just out front instead of doubling along with the track.
Yeah, I always love. I was gonna say I always love it when these acts bring live instruments on the stage.
Yeah. I
always think it makes the act so much better.
Yep, and I'd like to see him with a live band on stage. I think I would prefer that, definitely. So yeah, that's all I had down for him. Any other comments you had on Tyler Butler Figueroa?
No, I hate that I focused more. I mean, it's okay. Let me make sure I word this right. I try not to let the stories swayed me in how I think about the act. I like to focus on the performance on the stage. But in this particular instance, my father had cancer. My father passed away from cancer. So I've seen it firsthand. I know how it treats a person and treats a family. And for kids to spread rumors that his cancer is contagious, it just makes me so sick inside to hear that. I mean, I know kids can be cruel. Kids say the darndest things, but in this instance, they don't. They're saying hurtful things, and I don't like that I'm focusing more on that than I am on his act, but that's just the way I feel right now. And with it being the end of the show, there was nothing there to kind of take me out of that. That's all I've been able to focus on for him.
Yeah.
So,
to be honest, I was surprised that this was Simon's golden buzzer. Like, we knew as we're coming up on the end of the episode, there's got to be a golden buzzer. As he's getting started, like, we're out of time. It's going to be him. I was a little surprised that it was Simon's, though. I thought it might be, one of the other judges, I guess. Any of the other judges.
Julianne's the other one, yeah. So we've had Gabrielle's and Howie's and now Simon's.
Yeah, so Julianne's left, and then we'll probably have some guest judges along the way here that are going to...
we'll have Terry. Terry gets one.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll probably we'll have Julianne's next week, and then they'll probably skip one, and then they'll go to probably Terry's in the 6th week. That's my guess.
All right. Yeah. So marching on towards the rest of the season here. I am out next week. Do you want to announce what your plan is, or should we let listeners be surprised?
Well, I'm just going to say that we're going to have a guest next week. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Okay. We'll leave it at that.
Yep.
Very good. So, please, everybody, give us your comments. Give us some feedback. We love to talk to you guys about what it is that you love about America's Got Talent. What do they need to improve? What do we need to improve? We're always looking for constructive criticism. And I guess, you're welcome again for not sucking this week.
Congratulations.
All right. Anything else, Cody?
Nope, that's all I got. So I'll see you all next week. Jay will be back in a couple of weeks.
I'll be back
in 2 weeks, and we'll have a guest next week. So tune in to find out who that is.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks so much. Night.
Bye.